All right, today we are doing a deep forensic breakdown of what it actually takes to run agentic browser systems in production. We're going to skip all the hype and get right down to the hard-won engineering principles, the stuff that keeps this incredibly powerful tool from turning into a massive automated liability on your hands.
Okay, so here's the plan. First, we'll map out the new attack surface. Then, we'll build up our defenses layer by layer, from runtime isolation to some clever context engineering. And we'll wrap it all up with a blueprint you can actually use. Let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. We have to get one thing straight. Browser agents don't just poke a new hole in your security. No, they create an entirely new type of attack surface. They do this by basically bulldozing the security boundaries we've trusted for, well, decades.
So let's walk through a scenario. It's super common, sounds totally harmless. You tell your shiny new browser agent, hey, go research what our competitors are charging. Easy enough, right? The agent fires up, heads to a target website, and starts its work.
But here's the catch. Buried in that website's code, invisible to a human, is this little instruction. The agent's context window slurps it right up, processes it, and just obeys. Instantly. And you've got to understand, this isn't a bug. This is literally the feature working as designed. The agent is built to follow instructions wherever it finds them.
What you just saw is called Indirect Prompt Injection, or IDPI. And folks, this is the big one. This is the primary threat we're up against. The web itself, the very data you're trying to process, becomes a weapon, a way to deliver malicious commands. Benign data in, command execution out.
Okay, threat number 2, session contamination. Think of the agent's memory, its state, as a dirty sponge. It soaks up everything. So that authenticated session from your secure internal dashboard, it can get carried right over to the next task, where the agent visits some sketchy, compromised website. And just like that, your credentials are in the wrong hands.
And this is the real kicker. The same origin policy, the absolute bedrock of web security for 20 years, it's just gone. It's meaningless here. Your normal browser would never let attacker.com peek into your internal.corp tab. But the agent, it doesn't care. It can read from one tab, store that data in its memory, and then happily write it out to another. It becomes the malicious bridge between sites.
And to top it all off, these things are non-deterministic. You can give it the exact same prompt, and it might do something different every single time, depending on page load times, A/B tests, you name it. This just shatters our traditional security playbooks. Tools like SecComp or AckArmor, they're useless here. Why? Because you can't write a policy for something you can't predict.
The folks at Trail of Bits put it perfectly. We're basically hitting the reset button on security here. But look, this isn't some brand new, unsolvable problem. At their core, these are architectural flaws. They feel a lot like the XSS and CSRF bugs we squashed decades ago. So we just need to bring that same level of architectural discipline to the table. And that begins with how we build our defense.
All right, let's talk defense. The absolute foundation is runtime isolation. The mindset here is key. We're not trying to guess every bad thing the agent might do. Instead, we're trying to contain the blast radius for when, not if, it gets compromised. Think of it like a ladder, where each rung gives us a stronger and stronger form of isolation.
So we're going to climb that ladder, looking at 3 key rungs: basic process isolation, then containerization, and finally, the gold standard, full-blown MicroVM isolation.
Okay, rung number 1, process isolation. Super cheap, super fast. And yeah, it'll stop some basic session contamination between 2 tasks, but that's it. That's all you get. If that agent process gets popped, the attacker has the keys to the kingdom, your host OS, your file system, your local credentials. It's just not a real boundary. Next up, we have container isolation, with Docker. And this is definitely a step up. It walls off the file system, which is great. But, and this is a huge but, for untrusted workloads, all your containers are still sharing the same host kernel. That means a kernel exploit is now officially part of your threat model. And if one agent escapes its container, it can compromise every other agent on that machine. Not good. And that brings us to the top of the ladder, the architectural best practice, MicroVM isolation. We're talking about tools like Firecracker. Here, every single agent task gets its own tiny, lightweight VM, complete with its own dedicated kernel. And the beautiful part, as soon as the task is finished, that entire VM is just gone, destroyed. There is no shared state, no persistence, no way to move laterally.
The attack is over before it can even begin.
Edera security has a great line about this. Edera doesn't restrict agents, it contains them. And that's exactly the principle. Stop trying to predict what the agent will do. It's a losing game. Instead, build a system where you know, for a fact, that the blast radius is always one. One task, one ephemeral environment that gets wiped from existence.
So, strong isolation is great for containing a breach, but our next defensive layer is all about preventing the breach from happening at all. And the way we do that is by getting smart about the information, the context that we even feed to the LLM in the first place. We're going to shrink the attack surface before the model even gets a chance to see it.
Now, this is the architectural insight that a lot of teams miss. The big move is to stop feeding the agent raw, messy HTML. Instead, you give it the browser's accessibility tree, the AxTree. This is the same clean semantic structure that browsers build for screen readers, and it's an absolute game changer. Why? Because it throws out all the noisy presentational junk, which is exactly where attackers hide their malicious instructions.
Just by making this one switch, you get a massive win. We're talking a 10 to 15x reduction in context size. So right off the bat, your API costs plummet and latency improves. But honestly, the bigger deal is that the agent gets better at its job. It's working with a clean, semantic map of the page, not a confusing mess of HTML tags.
Just look at the difference in practice. On the left, you've got a single, simple form field, but it's represented by over 100 lines of crazy, nested HTML. On the right, that exact same field is just two clean, simple lines from the AxTree. This is the whole shift right here. You're moving the agent away from reasoning about brittle CSS selectors and towards reasoning about what the page actually means.
Okay, on to our final defensive layer. And this one is about a fundamental shift in philosophy. We're going to take security out of the prompt, where we're just hoping the model does the right thing, and bake it directly into the architecture. We're moving from probabilistic hope to deterministic code-enforced guarantees.
First up, your agents need real identities. I'm not talking about a static API key. I mean a proper ephemeral identity, just like you'd give any other production microservice. Every agent should be a short-lived actor with a clear purpose, a strict set of permissions, like an allow list of domains it can even visit, and a hard expiration date. And this right here is the most important part of this section. The safety checks have to live in your execution code, not in the LLM's brain. Because we have that clean semantic context from the AxTree, our code can enforce hard rules. For example, your code can say, if a button has the text delete account in it, you are not allowed to click it without human confirmation, period. It doesn't matter what the prompt says. The agent is architecturally incapable of performing that action.
Aram Vardanyan's research nails this idea. The takeaway is we have to stop trying to prompt engineer our way to security. Stop trying to make the model smarter about threats. Instead, let's engineer a system where it is physically impossible for it to misbehave, no matter what it thinks it's supposed to do.
Okay, so we've got our layers: strong isolation, smart context engineering, and structural safety. Let's put it all together now and look at what a production-ready blueprint actually looks like.
The key to this whole blueprint is decoupling the thinking from the acting. So check out the flow. You've got a stateless control plane. This is where your secrets live. It never, ever touches the public internet. Its only job is to orchestrate tasks. It spins up an ephemeral MicroVM sandbox, gives it a short-lived token, and says, go do this one job. That sandbox has no state, no secrets. It uses that sanitized AxTree context to do its work, and the second it's done, the entire thing is vaporized. Every single principle we've talked about is enforced right here in the architecture.
So here's the bottom line. When you're dealing with systems this powerful, autonomy without security isn't a feature, it's just an automated vulnerability waiting to happen. So the only real question you need to ask yourself is this: is your architecture built on hope, the probabilistic hope that the model will behave? Or is it built on guarantees, the deterministic structural guarantees of your own code?